Hi everyone, welcome to An Hour with LawSikho. This is Ramanuj Mukherjee from lawsikho.com and iPleaders. And I have with me Kirti Prakash. I know Kirti for a while now, and he is a superb internet marketer. He started two different companies so far. In the first one was called Garagely, and currently also he's building some products related to online marketing where it serves different purposes for optimizing a page and all of that. Now we have Kirti with us, and he's going to talk about how law firms can use content marketing, and he's the right person to talk about it because he has been doing content marketing for a long time and he's really good at it. And he has a successful blog. He has built a business using a blog, and he understands how to use content marketing to build a business. Although he's not a lawyer, but he's a good marketer, and I know quite a bit about using content marketing to generate work. I have done it myself. I have done it with hundreds of students who wanted to get jobs or even get work for their law firms. I run one of India's largest legal blogs, which is read by over 8 lakh people every month. So, between two of us, we would be able to really give you some good advice today about how to use content marketing for a law firm. Okay, so welcome, Kirti.
Thank you so much, Ramanuj, for the warm introduction. I'm really excited to be here and hope we can, share some good value with our people.
Great. So, can you tell us what is content marketing and how is it different from other? What are the different forms of internet marketing, and why is content marketing important, and what is it actually?
So basically, content marketing. Hello?
I can hear you. Carry on.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So basically, content marketing is basically where we create a lot of short form, long form content which appeals to users, and through those means we actually drive business. So there's one thing to write information based articles like Hindustan Times, Indian Express, and other big portals too. And there's another thing to write content which actually drives sales. So basically, content marketing in a nutshell means that you write content which sells itself. So the kind of work that you guys are doing at iPleaders is probably writing informative content which helps people in taking action and eventually takes to a call of action. And that's how the whole idea of content marketing works.
Right. So, what are the different forms of content marketing? Like, you said that somebody is writing informative content. What could be the other content
Uh,
marketing strategies?
Okay, so there are different formats. So there are some formats like short form, the way Seth Godin, people like Seth Godin write. There are long form like how Ryan Holiday or popular bloggers like Ramit Sethi, and even in India we have people like Pradeep Goyal who write. So long format writing essentially means that you write the best possible article on a given internet topic. Like let's say you're supposed to write an article on criminal litigation, so the kind of article that you write on that particular topic, it has to be the best piece that is supposed to be out there on the internet, so that even for the next 1 or 2 years, no one is able to compete with you and produce that kind of value. And when people understand that you've produced a lot of value in posting an article about criminal litigation, let's say, they'll probably end up trusting you, and eventually you can take them to a call to action page and sell your products and services to them. So that's essentially the power of content marketing and how you can do it.
Okay. So, apart from content marketing, what are the other types of marketing that are there?
uh, Essentially content marketing fits in the online sort of format marketing, where you have one format is paid advertising and paid traffic, and this really fits in the organic traffic. So if you try to understand, there are two essential in the online marketing. There are two essential branches. So one is paid marketing. Paid marketing is like top listed channels like Facebook, Google, Yahoo, LinkedIn, and all popular platforms which have a lot of monthly active users. So you can advertise to your target market using advertising, things like that. And in the other format, you have organic traffic. So organic traffic could be by posting a lot of articles on LinkedIn Pulse, answering questions on Quora, and just building your own blog so that eventually you start getting listed on Google and you drive a lot of consistent, solid organic traffic through means of Google search engine. So that's that. Apart from that, the other format of marketing is offline marketing, which is basic brochures, billboards, advertising, and that's usual. But since the context is more of our conversation is towards content marketing, uh, I think content marketing is one of those evergreen things, which if you do it today, it'll keep on paying to you as sort of like a compound interest year after year, and it really outtrumps other formats of paid advertising.
So very interesting. For lawyers, we are not allowed to do paid advertising, right? It is not
Right, I'm aware of it.
legal, right? So what happens is that you cannot really go and put out a Google advertisement. It is going to be like illegal.
Yeah,
Interestingly, law is one of the highest searched categories. People are, whenever they get into some sort of a legal problem, one of the first things people do is that they go and Google.
right,
And even no matter where who your customer is, even if it is a business, there are people there who are googling. Even if your clients are very interestingly, somehow many lawyers think that people are going to not like think that okay, why should I go online? I mean, I have spoken to older lawyers who think that blogging is a unnecessary thing. There are people who think, lawyers who think that from internet, how can I get a client? I will get client referred by other clients and all of that, which is there, right? If
right.
you're a good lawyer, your existing clients refer other clients to you, and people know that you're a good lawyer in a law firm, sorry, in a court, then they'll come to you. All of that is true. Without taking away from that, the fact remains that especially if you're a new lawyer, you're struggling to you know be heard.
Right.
Not enough people know about your example, a blog. Let's say you have uh, 50 clients or 100 clients, right? Now, obviously, it is understandable that those clients come to you once, get some work done, and then they may or may not come to you again. But what content marketing also does, so there are two things. One is that, let's say I am an expert on venture capital, right? So there are many lawyers I know now. Lawyers are taking blogging very seriously because when you start writing regularly about venture capital, people Google and they find your name when they are reading something, and they find valuable insights from you about what they are interested in. They tend to trust you more. So you
Right.
can build trust even with your existing clients through content marketing, through blogging. And now all law, especially in the US, in the UK, big law firms have thriving blogs. They invest a lot of money in building their blogs for the same reason. And even in India now, big law firms have started doing it. Nisit Desai Associates, Cyril Amachan Mangaldas, Shardul Amachan Mangaldas, JSA. Most of these firms are also coming up with some sort of a blog. What we are more interested in understanding is that how can let's say a small law firm or somebody who's starting a new practice, how can they benefit the most from starting a blog or content marketing? So what are the different ways they can go about it, in your opinion?
Um, I think it's very fascinating that you mentioned that how old lawyers are really resistant to this idea, but slowly they're changing, and how whole idea of advertising in law spaces now really allowed as per the authorities. I've really seen this law. I mean, sorry, I've really seen this trend amongst a lot of old lawyers that even the old lawyers, I mean, the traditional practice format, they used to write a lot of journals, research, books, and a lot of like free material because that was their word of mouth, or that was their whole idea of spreading their word about themselves out there in the world. And that was probably 10, 20, or 30, 40 years back. But slowly, as formats have been changing, as people have stopped reading, like a lot of physical content, people want to go online, just quickly browse through a blog and probably consume content at a much faster pace. So, keeping the trends and how people's reading habits are changing, a great idea I think is to whatever formats of writing you want to do, I think start shifting it to an online format where you can probably write on Quora or LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is an excellent place for all aspiring or people who are starting out in the market right now. That's one. Another thing they could do is just take up a blog, take up a domain, and register it on WordPress, and just start writing deep authority content. So let's say I'm supposed to write an article on venture capital, as you spoke about. Just cover everything that is humanly possible to come up on that, and that way slowly, even if you're like, let's say I'm in law, I'm a first year student of law. Even if I start interviewing like all top venture capital people and like top lawyers and all that, I can slowly start building my authority, so that by the time, even if I write one post, per month or per week, as a format of compound interest, I'll start adding up a lot of authority amongst my circles. And eventually, once I graduate out of college, things will be and life will be relatively easy for me to go out and get a job as a venture capital lawyer.
Correct.
And that's to answer how trends are shifting, how people need to switch from manual formats of writing to online. And moving to the second part, which you mentioned, that how early stage law firms can venture into writing. So the basic idea is you can go online, book a domain, and take WordPress. WordPress is a format which is trusted by one of the all the top global top writers, and everyone writes a lot of WordPress. So you can take a WordPress format and just buy a SEO engine and start writing everything that is out there on the internet related to a particular topic. Again, as we mentioned about venture capital, you can probably go and interview 10, 20, 30 venture capitalists, showcase their interviews, and ask them to share their own rewards, and slowly you'll build traffic. That's one format of like getting traffic through social sharing. Other is you could learn skills like search engine optimization, which you at iPleaders have been heavily using and getting a lot of consistent solid traffic. And over the years that you've been blogging, you guys have amassed 800K sort of traffic, which is, I think, a great feat. So slowly, as you keep on writing, I think you can amass a lot of traffic on the internet, and you can monetize it through jobs, traffic, and like a lot of ways you can monetize it.
Right. So most important thing is that you need to create contact points with your potential uh, clients, and
Right,
you are educating them. The idea for a lawyer is that because you cannot advertise,
right,
educate people for free. I mean, there is no bar on that. Nobody will
right,
say, "Why are you writing
right,
these articles
right,
on the internet?"
right. I
So
can understand.
once you start doing that, and people regularly start reading and start following you for that content, it works wonders. Now, let's say if I, starting a blog is heavy duty, right? To
Right,
actually suggesting, most lawyers are very busy and they do not have the kind of time to actually go out there and, write a lot of content or create a lot of
right.
content or even do interviews. It's not actually easy to do these things. So if they are going to write, even I strongly feel that if they're going to write once in a month or once in a week,
Mhm.
starting a blog may or may not work. Publishing in
Right.
LinkedIn can still work. But what do you think is about guest posting, like writing on already existing platforms where they'll get noticed? Does that make sense?
I think it does. I think it does. So let's say if I were to start out as a aspiring lawyer, I'm in first year. What I'll do is I'll go on to the all top law blogs, maybe in India and Asia, internationally. I'll just start blogging on the issues that's probably concerning. Let's say VC in this example. I'll start a lot of guest posting. I'll start posting on Quora. Quora gets you a lot of great discovery. And LinkedIn, I think for aspiring lawyers, LinkedIn Pulse is like a great way to publish your content. And again, for example, if I'm, let's say, in India, I would publish a lot of articles on iPleaders, Live Law, and other top law blogs which are out there. So that this way I get a lot of coverage amongst the potential employers and things like that. And I've heard even cases where, let's say, you post a great article, like really high quality, valuable article on one of the top authority websites. So when people start loving your article, they'll start contacting you. Probably it could be in formats of working as a counseling lawyer, or with a job offer and things like that. So I think this is like one of those things. If you're in law school, you can start investing in writing a lot of content for other websites, and it'll pay off in 3 to 4 to 5 years, and the results have been great. We do that because I've personally been doing it, and it really helps me a lot. And just to also hammer in another point, why content marketing is really going to excel for all businesses, not even for law. So I've been consulting this business on paid advertising and organic traffic as well. So what happened was recently Facebook messed up their whole algorithm change because of their privacy laws. So what happened was all of a sudden Facebook advertising costs went up like twice and thrice, and it really impacted a lot of top ventures, top online ventures of India in terms of their customer acquisition and advertising costs. So that's Facebook. But even I know another client that I was working with. So they used to do a lot of heavy advertising on LinkedIn. Overnight, what happened was last week LinkedIn changed their advertising policy, and because of which 70% of their revenue got wiped out overnight. And now they were not working very aggressively on their content part. Now they're doubling down on content. So content is the only evergreen thing that will get you, food on your dinner table. Everything else is temporary and dominated by platforms. So as a business, even as law firms, I think that's the best investment they can make for their own business.
Right. And I also think that, it's a big brand building exercise, right? If today in the world you want to build a brand, where do you
Right.
build it? Like, you say as a law firm, obviously your brand builds up as you do a lot of work and people say
Sure.
good things about you in the industry. But I think that is heavily skewed towards the top players. Like, somebody, let's say in any given market, only the top 5
10,
to
20%.
people would get that kind of branding. But how do you break into that league? Like, how do you start when you are starting initially? How do you get more attention? How do you get people to discover you, know about you, follow you? And that is where creating content comes. Like if you're regularly creating high quality content, people begin to know you, they begin to trust you.
Right.
Give me some ideas about that. Like, what can, let's say, somebody is beginning to practice or wants to build a practice, what could they do in terms of content strategy?
So, in terms of content strategy, they could do couple of like really simple things. So, let's say I'm starting out in venture capital, and I'm 21, 23 years old, or probably 25-year-old, and we've started with a couple of friends, and they have new law firms. So, of course, I mean, there's a given fact that I know that I won't be able to publish a lot of authority content, and people won't uh, accept my views out there. So, what you can do is you can go out to top 10, 20 people of your niche. uh, let's say again you could go out and interview top 10, 20 VC lawyers and get their detailed interviews and publish it out in their blogs. So interviews is a great format to get a lot of like early content traction. uh, Apart from that, you could do a lot of listicles like top 10 lawyers, top 20 lawyers in the country in venture capital space. So these are the kind of formats that you could do, and you could republish your content on SlideShare in a slide format. You could do Medium, you could do LinkedIn Pulse. So, I mean, writing one content and just distributing it through different mediums, that really helps up in building a lot of brand leverage. Uh, and apart from that, you could do case studies as well. So, let's say I've taken up a case and I resolved it in a matter of like 8 months, and it costed X amount of money. So, what you could do is you could do a case study how I did this to X client and help them in raising XYZ amount of capital. So you could do a detailed case study in a step-by-step format, in a long format content, and that could really, help in establishing a point that there is someone out there who's done a case study, and they've been doing actual legit work, and this is a proof of their. So case studies, listicles, interviews, and these are the kind of things that you start with. And once you get experience and you understand how your whole space works, you can write a lot of authority content as well, like how to raise venture capital and how to legally say things like that.
Great. So, if I, let's say now there's a big question, okay, let's say I am successful in getting people to read my content. So, usually, my experience is that I start a blog and I have been writing a few things, but nobody is reading it. I mean, every blogger goes
Has
through,
gone through it.
right? So, even I have gone through it. Like, I have written, I have 50 people reading it. I will be very happy that 50 people read my article, right? And there was no traffic and you don't know what to do. So, what do you really do to make sure that people are reading your, like, how do you build traffic? This is a big question for a lot of people. How do you?
Uh, so building traffic really happens on two levels. So one is you get temporary formats of traffic. Temporary formats of traffic is social traffic through Facebook, Google, no, sorry, Facebook, LinkedIn. These are temporary sort of traffic where you can get initial bursts of traffic, Like, let's say you can get 200, 300 people per day for 1 week, but after that, no one will be opening it up. So that's one format of traffic. The other format is getting a lot of incoming traffic through Google. A lot of reports have suggested that the power of incoming traffic through search blogs is 11 times more powerful than paid advertising. Because the person who's searching how to, like, a criminal, how to find a criminal lawyer or criminal lawyer in Delhi, criminal lawyer in Bombay, his intent on buying your services is much much higher than you advertising on Facebook like criminal services in there. So that's how incoming searches of Google really help you, like, getting high quality traffic. So that's one part. The second part is that to really get great traffic, I mean, that's tragedy of every early blogger. So to get great early incoming traffic, you have to really master the art of search engine optimization. Search engine optimization might mean, let's say I'm looking for a criminal lawyer in Delhi. Uh, as someone sitting behind the screen of the internet, right? I might search that people might just write criminal lawyer, and that's how, like, I should write article how to find criminal lawyer. But that's not what people are looking for. So people might type in searches like criminal lawyer in Delhi, best criminal lawyer in Delhi, or how to find criminal lawyers in Delhi, and they use different terms. So the idea that you should do is you should write a lot of content after doing a lot of search engine optimization cases on
Right.
Google.
Do a keyword research first. Find out that what
Right.
people are searching for, and there are tools
Sure.
that tell you that, right?
Right. So that's one part of the problem, and the second is that you should understand the search intent as well. So someone searching criminal lawyer might not be buying your services, but someone searching criminal lawyer in Delhi or best criminal lawyer in Delhi, the percentage of them buying your service or product or whatever offering is much much higher than someone searching criminal law. So you have to really get smart about what's the commercial intent of a particular keyword.
Yeah, but I want to add something here. Like if somebody is searching for best criminal lawyer in Delhi,
Right.
you are number one. You are competing with a lot of big people, right? So there are all
Sure.
Law Reto and like
Right.
myadvo.in. So all these people are heavily investing, spending money on ranking for these keywords,
Mhm.
and it not more than 10 pages or 20 pages can rank in those keywords.
Right.
But where the opportunity lies, Kirti, is that let's say why are people searching for something? Like they have other questions also which they are going to Google.
Right. Right.
You don't have much time, who are the top criminal lawyers. I mean, you can't say I'm a criminal lawyer, top
Right.
criminal lawyer in Delhi, unless I like it will not be genuine anyway.
Right.
So, but what I can do is like let's say uh, there's a question that what to do if police is not taking my FIR. Now
Right.
that is a very good thing to write
Format.
about and rank for. So somebody actually has written an article on this and ranked very high
Right.
on Google on one or two,
Right.
and thousands of people are reading it every month, and I'm sure at least 10% of them are from Delhi. We can see it actually. I
Right.
can see that 10 to 12% of those people are from Delhi,
Right.
and these people are highly likely, or another example, you know. Can I get a bail in non-bailable offense? Now,
Right.
this somebody who's searching this is going to hire a lawyer.
It is stuck. Right. He's stuck somewhere.
Yeah, he's going to look for a lawyer who can get him a bail, right? And
Right.
if you answer that question, or what are the factors that determine that courts look at before deciding whether somebody should get a bail? Now, these
Right.
questions are like highly loaded questions which are going to lead to somebody looking for a lawyer basically. And if you give them high quality advice
Hmm.
on the article, and then they might be having an interest in buying your.
Right.
But
I think it's interesting that you mentioned this. So one format is like studying a lot of keyword research from Google's point of view and studying a lot of incoming research. But recently, the trend has been shifting towards Quora as well. So if you go to Quora and topics like how to get bail or how to get how to file a cyber complaint. So what you could do is you can go to Google and type criminal litigation in India or Delhi, whatever topic is. You can see there are a lot of questions that people are asking in the right section. And if there is a question which has been answered by more than 6 to 7 people, I think you should really pick up that question and start writing it. Because people are, I mean, the whole idea of intent, right? Who is looking for that kind of information? Someone who's stuck, someone who's needing that kind of help, and they don't know where to go. They don't. I mean, they believe that Quora is one of the internet's most trusted place to get valuable information until a new legal platform, which is trusted, safe, comes into play and provides high quality information on this. And that's what you can do. You can probably write, how to get bail in 1 day or help to get bail in 2 days. And you could do a lot of research on the kind of questions people are asking for. But by just going to Quora, picking up questions from there and writing, a detailed copy and article. Because people are like actually searching on those topics. So you could find a lot of idea suggestions from Quora.
I think that's a great point. What people are already searching for, you write on that. That's the idea, right? What people will search for, write on that. Don't write some fancy article on some fancy section or case law. That lawyers will read that. It should not be read.
Right. Right.
Clients are searching for something very simple and what is very obvious, right? So we have an article on, which offenses in IPC are bailable and which are non-bailable. This is a article which is read by 4,000 people per week.
Wow.
So all over India, people are searching, and I know that these people who are reading, they either have a family member or they are afraid themselves that they are, and lawyers will not be looking. Lawyers, they look at their CRPC or whatever. They're not going to look at on a blog whether offense is bailable or non-bailable. But these are all potential clients,
right,
who have a criminal offense against them or against somebody they know. So I mean, this is great, right? Or it is maybe they have complained and it is being filed, so they are involved in the process somewhere. And there are many questions like this, right? So you can take up any law, and there are questions that you have, like, what do I do if somebody filed a false dowry case against me? Right now, if this question somebody is asking, that they are definitely going to be a potential customer, and there are literally thousands and thousands of things
thousands of questions, right? I mean, Quora is filled with a whole question bank. You can just take questions from there and write small articles on there. You can write articles worth 500, 800 words. And
that doesn't rank. To rank an article, you need to write a valuable article with headings, subheadings, and then 1,500 to 2,000 words. These days,
1,500, 2,000 could work. So you could take all the questions from Quora and start writing on it.
And you have to write the most authoritative thing. So I'll give you an example. We wanted to rank for consumer law in India. Okay, if people Google consumer law India, they should come to our website, because I knew that some 50,000-60,000 people every month are searching for this.
Right.
And, we wrote an article which was 10,000 words. Okay.
Right.
And I did not write this. I just asked an intern that you just write a 10,000 word article. And this article, while it is very detailed, it is not that great. Okay.
Right.
But I just wanted to see what happens. How do Google treat this article? Let me see. Right. Google is ranking, it took 4 or 5 months, but after that it started ranking on page 1. So it is a highly competitive keyword, right? But because this has so much information, Google eventually started ranking it on the first page.
Right. So even as per Google standards, there's a recent thing that Google always ranks long form content. So if there is anything that's about 3,000 words, and normal people don't write anything about it. So if you write one article about 3,000 words, the percentage of it ranking higher on Google page 1 is relatively high.
Just because you wrote a long article, it's going to rank. You will also look, how long people are spending on it. Are they reading it? Are they still searching for things?
Right.
So there are things.
Host of factors.
This article is not ranking on the top, by the way. Most of our best articles are all ranking on number 1 or number 2. This is number 6 or number 7. Fluctuates, right? However, this is I'm just saying that if you write a long article, it is much more likely that it will rank than if you write a short article.
So Google actually releases a report every year where they mention that these are the top 10, 20 factors on the basis of which your article starts showing up on the top. So if you really see that writing long form is one, getting a lot of backlinks is one, your domain strength is another, and how much time, again, as you mentioned, how much time people are spending on your blog. That's another factor. So again, it's a host of 20, 30 factors, but it really adds up. Long form is really the way.
Google says it's probably more like 200, 300 factors, but there are 20, 30 factors which are the most important ones. But
Right.
what I really consider is the most important factor is that if somebody comes to read it, are they finding the answers? I think this is the most important factor, right? Are they understanding your content? Are they getting value out of it? Are they going to share it with somebody?
Right.
They like it so much that they're going to email it to their lawyer or their friend or their, I mean, if that is the kind of article you have written, then or they're going to bookmark it. That's the kind of article you got to write, and then it's going to really work. So a lot of lawyers underestimate the quality of the article. They think that I'll write something and it's going to work, but not really. You really need to write something which is really fantastic. Right? So that's the critical thing. If you don't have to learn, I never learned ACO as such, right? It's basic things that a lot of people say, oh, I don't know all about ACO, but I have never learned ACO, right? And what I have always tried to do is that what question is that people are asking, let me write about that and answer all the questions I would have logically about that subject. So if I'm writing on how to obtain a gun license, which is by the way like literally like 30,000 people every month is looking for this subject. Now what I would be doing is that I would write every possible question you might have on a gun license,
Right.
including it could be like, can a gun license, I can transfer my gun license to somebody in my family. Can I do that?
Right.
Can I, how often do I have to renew my gun license? And all possible questions about that, right? What are the criteria I have to fulfill to get a gun license? Every possible question. Where can I get a gun? With the license, what kind of gun can I buy? Can I buy a machine gun? Am I, whatever, right? So every possible question when you start the clients. This will not work if you're writing for lawyers, because lawyers
Right.
may or may not be looking for that information, but
Right.
a common person is looking for very basic information, and if you provide that, it's going to work. And funnily enough, lawyers are in the habit of talking in abstraction. So they
Right.
will talk about sections and the case laws and Supreme
Right.
Court
The
decisions.
buyer doesn't want that. The
Yeah,
buyer wants it in simple,
correct.
simple,
So
plain English.
sometimes they care, but sometimes they care. Like if you write an article about 5 topmost cases where Supreme Court has quashed dowry case, right? So people
Right.
want to know the story. Though I want to know which cases they have. All of that is there, but basically it is a need of people which is very basic, and they need to understand, and that's the value you're
Right.
adding as a lawyer. That you're taking a complex thing and simplifying it for the people, and that's the most critical thing. If you write technical articles, they will work very well for lawyers, but they are not going to work with
Your buyers.
the buyers of service of legal
Right.
services. So
So I think that really depends on who your target market is. So let's say if I'm writing for B2B audience, so let's say I want to cover a lot of I want to build an online journal for lawyers. So and I need to write in a lot of B2B sort of format where it appeals to a lot of lawyers. Of course, the fact is that it has to be simple and easy so that other lawyers can understand. But I also have to express and show my technical prowess so that my particular website stands out as a niche authority in the market. That's for B2B. But let's say if I'm writing for people who are aggrieved or looking for online legal services, the content has to be relatively simple, as if you're talking one on one to the person in a conversational form, and make them understand in a very simple form.
they should understand and they should get value
Right.
out of it. And interestingly enough, you can even create a blog which is for lawyers. Let's say you're
Hmm.
targeting in-house lawyers, real estate lawyers,
Right.
in-house counsels in real estate companies. That's your
Right.
target. Absolutely fine. Write for them. They should become your followers and fans, and
Right.
you will get work from them. Right? So you have to understand what is the work that they're looking for.
Hmm.
What are their questions? What are the things they want to know? Maybe they want to know the stamp duty in your state. Great,
Right.
no problem. You write about the stamp duty on certain kind of things. They'll come and read. Once they read, then you can. So now this is the big question. Like people come and read once and go away. How can you retain them? Can you? is there a mechanism through which I can make sure they are reading my next article and next article and next article, and not just reading one blog post from Google and going out? Because I don't have control over Google traffic. I can write
Right.
good articles, but how do I ensure that I stay back and keep reading more? And
Uh,
to keep in touch with me, like be in a, they should be my followers. They should be on my blog. They should use it regularly. I want to build like a forum or a something around my blog. It's a community, right?
right.
It is not good to just be like an anonymous blog. Just people read from Google once or twice in
Hmm.
their life. So how can I become more than that? That's the next step. Right?
Um, so there's one way. I'm not sure how is this allowed in your nation or not. But what you could do is direct advertising. I'm not sure is allowed in legal industry. But what you could do is you could promote a lot of your articles through Facebook advertising. So let's say you're written like an article on how top top 10 law colleges in Delhi. So you could do a $1 a day advertising on the article so that people come and read the article. This is how you'll get a lot of new traffic. And for getting people to come back again and again, let's say if they come to your portal and you want to retarget them for selling a certain service, let's say gun license, real estate, some article you've written, and they've come in through Google or any social media share. So what you could do is you could install tools like Facebook retargeting pixel and Google pixel, and by installing those
Got it. Yeah.
tools, you could retarget them with your services.
Retargeting is a little bit of advanced stage. I have
Right.
much more simple solution. All you got to do is you need to um, create a newsletter, right?
Right.
So newsletter is something that people subscribe because they want to read more, and
Hmm.
that's called a mailing list, right? You can add people to your mailing
Hmm.
list and keep sending them more articles.
Sure.
That way, you build a deeper relationship. So, for example, imagine I'm writing on real estate law, and I want all the real estate company owners and lawyers and such people to read. What I would do is that I will write some really authoritative articles on the topics that they're searching on Google, right? But following that, what I would do is that I will make sure that, let's say the topic is that, you know, how to register a new project in RERA, right? That
Okay.
would be like everybody will be looking for that information. Like somebody who's starting a new project, real estate project, they look for this. Like under RERA, which is the Real Estate Regulation Act, how to register a project. Registration is mandatory, so you can't avoid it. How to register? What are the documents needed for to register? All of that I provide, right? Following by that, let's say I ask them that by end of the article I mentioned that, do you want a checklist for RERA registration? Download here.
Hmm.
Okay.
Right.
And to download it, they have to just submit the email, and I'll send the checklist to them over email.
Right.
Then I will keep sending them more articles from the next week. Right? Every day I'll send them my other real estate articles. And
I
this,
think that really depends on who you're targeting the article for. So if you divide this into two categories, so let's say you're targeting for real estate lawyers. For real estate lawyers, you would probably want get them to read your newsletter or send them a downloadable PDF or how to boost your law practice and things like that, because you want them to keep coming. But let's say you're making someone read an article on how to fight a criminal law or like any case related article. In that particular case, you would want to target them through pixel retargeting and sell a service to them, like a criminal lawyer
I totally
service.
understand that. But what I saw is that people really start trusting when they start receiving email. Like on email, you
Sure.
can build more trust. So, for example, let's say you are selling a RERA registration. Oh, okay, fine. Let's
Right.
take criminal law, right? How to
Right.
get bail.
Hmm.
Now, you know that this person will probably going to need bail only once in their life. Hopefully, not again.
Right. Right.
But how do you build trust and this thing? So let's say you give them, okay, what are the documents you should, like, you give them a checklist. What documents you should submit along with
Right.
the bail application, right?
Right.
What documents can strengthen your bail application?
Right.
They downloaded it. They give them your email. Then in
Right.
next 5 days, you can send them more information about bail,
Right.
And maybe you write an article on anticipatory bail. You give them about, you share some case studies from your previous.
Right. Case study is great. And then eventually you could shift to a call to action where you said, schedule a free call with one of our
We call
MLAs.
with, and you should never offer like a big ticket service where, you get your,
Right.
you just say that, why don't you get a second opinion on your case?
Sure. Soft selling the whole idea. I mean, if first the article comes, then they subscribe, then you send more information, and then you send them downloadable PDF, some case studies to make them feel that you're legit, and then eventually after I think
Yeah, and
eight
you
to
can
nine
like
touch
do like
points.
a consultation call for 500 rupees. Where I say, I will talk to you for 15 minutes, half an hour over a call, and
Right.
you'll see a large number of people will come. And after you talk to them, you'll know what to further.
Right.
Maybe you can tell them, your matter is such that we can go for quashing it in the high court, and then
Right.
trust you because they have been reading your content
Sure.
and they feel they know you. Because when people are reading your email, I know it's crazy to
Right.
understand how that happens. But if you have been receiving emails from somebody who's writing a good thing and
Right.
helping you with a lot of information, you begin to trust them, and that
Sure.
really works wonders. And it'll work. And this is not illegal. Educating people is not illegal,
Right.
right?
Of course.
So, I mean, it's going to work really well for lawyers. It works really well.
I think that's one way, but I mean, I also understand the fact that you mentioned that high ticket items cannot be sold in one shot. You can't just advertising buy this course worth 20,000.
So, not that it cannot be sold. It just works better when you uh, put people through a nurturing process where you're
Right.
not telling them, "Hey, I'm on the internet. I want 1 lakh rupees for you to subscribe to it." They're like, "What the hell?" But if you tell them, "Talk to me, 500 rupees, 15 minutes," they will come.
Right.
Like, I want a second opinion. This
Right.
lawyer seems good. Maybe he can tell me something new. And if you tell them something new, then they might say that, what, that other lawyer I have is not actually able to help me with all these things.
Right.
So what can you do? So then you can suggest that this is another
Right.
you should take. Uh,
Right.
then maybe you can offer even more things. You can, after 500 rupees call, you can say, I will review your matter for, I'll charge you 2,000 rupees and I'll review your papers or your evidence or whatever, right? And then you do like, and at every step they find more value from you. They are going to come back and say that, I have, because I have already got some value from you, so I have a higher chance of trusting
Sure.
you rather than somebody who never knows and just sees an ad. And law is a very high trust driven thing.
Right. And I think this is what I've realized over the past years of my work in the internet. The higher the ticket amount, so let's say you're doing 10, 20, 30,000 worth of products and offerings, the higher your amount, the closer you have to get to the customer. So let's say you're charging someone 3, 4, 5 lakh rupees, you would have to probably have a meeting with them one-on-one in person, like probably eat food, and you have to build a lot of in-person value. The higher the amount, the more closer you have to go to the customer.
Right.
This is something I've realized.
Yeah, and if they've already paid you and they've gotten value for that payment, then the trust is much higher than.
Yeah, percentage of them converting is relatively higher. That's given.
Yeah. All right, so we have about 10 minutes left. So, what do you want to add? Like, what are the best practices for content marketing in your opinion? For lawyers, like, what are the 3 things that they can start with?
Uh, First is go out on top legal space blogs, write a lot of guest posts on it. Number two, start writing on LinkedIn, and number three, just start interning under someone uh, who's actually writing a lot of authoritative content, because working under tutelage of someone, you really learn, you know a lot of you really get a lot of value about how things are working. And this is just basically that's all that anyone can do. Go out and get good at this.
Okay. So, we have some questions. We're going to quickly take them. So, one question is got from Bastil Jagde.
Okay.
He's asking, can you hear me? Is it
Yeah.
okay? Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So, Bastil is asking, what would be the correct platform for an independent practitioner for marketing the content? So, yeah, I will suggest LinkedIn is good, depending on who is already on your LinkedIn.
Right.
Clients should be on your LinkedIn, but there's one downside of LinkedIn is that a lot of people post a lot of nonsense content on LinkedIn.
Right.
People don't trust LinkedIn Pulse content very highly because anybody can write anything, right? So
Right.
it kind of fails to show that you're an authority. Like you
Right.
imagine you publish on Times of India, or you publish in the Hindu or the
Right.
Indian Express. People trust more. Why? Because
Right.
not any random person cannot publish there. It has gone through an editorial process.
Right.
There's a higher trust. But if you are not able to publish on such platforms, which is not easy, you should start by publishing in other blogs which have some some sort of visibility. Like good platforms would be IPR's blog, Live Law, Legally India maybe. But you have to see where it is also a little easy to publish, because not every platform is uh, going to respond to you quickly
Right.
enough and publish your content. So you don't want to waste your time chasing them. At the same time, you need to write good unpublished original content which is such a platform and authentic content, like is actually correct. Then only you'll get published, otherwise you'll not get published, right? So
Right.
when you publish on such platforms, it has a higher impact. So
Right.
find like good blogs, depending, like you may not be from India, I'm not sure. So if you're from another country, then in your country is there a platform, or maybe you can use a different country's platform where you can write, like on good well-known blogs which have significant number of articles published. You can
Right.
publish on those platforms.
I
That's
think if I had to, like, the kind of question is that if I had to do this, what I would essentially do is I would go to, like, again, same as you said, right? I would go to top three websites in that particular niche. And I would write a really high quality article. I would take even 5, 10 extra days and write a really high quality article, and then get it published on, like, by repurposing the content on all three blogs. And once that is done, what I'll do is I'll create a lot of repurposed article and distribute it through formats of Facebook, LinkedIn. So what I could do is I could take, so let's say I've written a 3,000 word article. I could take top 800 words of the article and then put it on LinkedIn Pulse. And then if someone wants to continue reading it, I'll just put a continue reading and then hyperlink it to the relevant blog. And I would do same for Quora, like, answer a particular question on Quora and then redirect it to the blog. And then I would do the same to SlideShare. Like, let's say if I've written a 10, like, I've written an article on 10 points. So what I'll do is I'll, repurpose that content and make top 10 slides and then, send it on SlideShare. And you can get a lot of traffic through all three formats. Uh, so from a lot of guest posting, the mindset that you should write from, I mean, you can write anything on the internet. Again, you mentioned that it has to be high quality. So from all the guest posting that I've done, I've always written that if I write on an article, it has to be the best possible content. So I wrote an article on the Next Web, which is one of the top entrepreneurship websites in the US, Silicon Valley. So that one article of 15,000 words that I've written, I made close to 3,000, 3,000 or 4,000 roughly worth of services from that one article. So my whole idea after writing that article was that I'm supposed to establish myself as an authority in that niche, and that has really helped me. So if you're starting up, what you should do is you should write really high quality content, and if you write well, you'll get some or the other type of financial benefit from it. So
right.
that's something that you can do.
Yeah, and you can always have a website, and you could put a uh, like a byline at the end and a link back. Most people are very happy to do it. If you've written a good article, like you're saying, it's a 10,000 word article,
Right.
12,000 word article, which is such an authoritative article, they don't mind you putting a link back to your website so that
Right.
you can actually visit and come to know more about it. That's it.
If you find that too cumbersome, you could redirect to your LinkedIn profile if you want
Absolutely.
any format of, like, product offerings or solicitations. But that does happen with high quality.
Another question we have is from Ritan Dua. He's asking, what platforms are ideal to market content for a young practitioner who has just gone independent or thinking of going independent? So yeah, I mean, similar question, Britan. So basically, IPR's blog will be a very good platform because we are writing on legal issues, right? We are not writing legal news. We are not writing jobs, internships, this that. So this is a platform where people come to read about legal. Right? You could also publish probably on Indian corporate law and such other blogs, but they're very technical. They're for lawyers rather than for consumers for of the service. So IPTO's blog is a great platform. You can publish, and live law would be the I mean, I would, although it's a news website, but still it has it will be able to rank high on Google and all of that. That's the other platform I would suggest. Other than that, in India, there are a lot of blogs, but none of them have the kind of clout for a platform that can really help your practice.
I think it's great. So if you really want to increase your employability in the market, you should also publish on. I mean, guest places are fine, but you should do a lot of publishing on LinkedIn as well, so that when a potential recruiter comes and sees that you're written like 100
Yes,
articles.
but he's talking about to go independent, not to have an employer. If you know your
Okay. Even in that sense, I think that should really help. Like writing a lot of authority content.
authority content, whatever you write, that should be like you take a small topic, answer one question, but that would be the best answer
On the internet. Right. That's the whole idea. Best answer on the internet for the next 1-2 years.
Yeah, so it will not be easy for somebody to write something better. That's the idea.
Sure.
Now the next question is, what type of content should one post frequently to market himself or herself? This is the answer, right? Authority content, right? It's like you read this, that's it. Like it's like you can't find better than this anywhere else. That's the answer. If you want to read today on how to, let's say, I mean, that's very interesting. Let me tell you another story. So one is that how to get a gun license, and it is the most. There were a lot of articles when we wrote this article, but we wrote a long article with the most information in it, and it started ranking on Google on the top, right? There was one article on how to file a cyber complaint. So what we did is we started giving the details of different police departments, cyber police of different, right? We gave the details like phone numbers, address, all of that, and we provided a database of that. So there was legal content, but accompanied by this, and this made us the top in the market, right?
Right.
So we gave a database of this. Google started ranking us higher because people were looking for this information, right? It's not like we just gave some random information. This was relevant. Other people did not figure out. We wrote. Now everybody, now when they are trying to surpass us and write these articles, now everybody puts that database, and they even put but they put bigger database than us. And
so what you could do as a business to be at the competitive edge is there's this tool which Google has in the market, which is free for all. It's called Google Search Console. So Google Search Console basically shows that, let's say you've written an article on gun license, it will show you all the incoming terms that you're getting for that. So it gets updated on a weekly basis. So for them to catch up to you, they don't have the backend insights that you have. So let's say even if you're ranking on first search of top 10 hits of Google, so what you could do is you could keep updating that article with all the incoming hits that you're getting, so that you maintain your advantage over time. And they won't be able to figure out why you still on top, because you've figured out all the incoming hits, right? So that's one thing you could do. A lot of like data intelligence that you could use behind.
Yeah, there are many other things one can do. Like we have tried putting videos over there, right? So that people are getting, apart from the text, they're also getting some videos.
They spend more time, bounce rate gets controlled. I think that's also a great idea. So the more time a person stays on the portal, the higher Google considers that, okay, this is something that people love reading, and let's show this more. Let's increase the uptime. So that's something.
So great. So we have reached 9 p.m. So we have had a very interesting discussion for an hour, and I don't think there are any other questions to answer. Yeah, this is it. And I hope that those of you who are looking to start your internet marketing, or making a brand online for yourself as a lawyer, which is very important, because today or tomorrow, sometimes even the advertising ban will be lifted on lawyers. It is only a matter of time, because foreign lawyers are allowed to advertise, and foreign law firms and lawyers will be allowed into India. It's just a matter of time. And at the same time, the law ministry has already proposed even the advertising ban will be lifted. So if you at that time, if you have not already started building a brand online, building a followership online. If you don't build your presence online and brand online, then it's going to be difficult. So it's not like a shortcut to becoming a great lawyer. You have to be a good lawyer, but a good lawyer backed up with good marketing is going to win. If there are two equally good lawyers, the one who has better marketing will win.
Will win.
Keeping that in mind, you need to understand and wake up to the realities of digital world and make a place for yourself. And lawyers have always done this. They have written earlier on newspapers, they appear on TV. Now you have to do this. This is different, right? This is how brands are built. So Ram Malani, if you were never on TV, never on newspaper, he will never be the brand that he is today, right? It could be no matter how a great lawyer he is. It made a difference that people know about him and what they talk about. So similarly, today we have an opportunity to build a smaller brand in our circle, right? So I have seen that lawyers who started blogging immediately started getting clients because even their friends and family did not know that they are good at something. But after they started writing, they read it from their Facebook, Twitter, and like you suddenly discover that, oh, my school friend is now a good cyber lawyer or a divorce lawyer. Then if you have a matter, you will go to your school friend, right?
Right.
But I bet that half of your school friends do not know that you're a lawyer, or if they know you're a lawyer, but they don't know what you do,
Also.
what you're good at. Once you start writing about the things you're good at, then people start trusting you, and your own immediate circle, who otherwise would not come to you, will start coming to you. And that's the most amazing thing I think of, you know, uh, doing content marketing on the internet.
I think just the formats have changed. People used to appear in TV, newspapers, and write journals before, but these days it's just internet. So internet is the new newspaper.
Right. Because, also if you look at it this way, earlier only so many newspapers were there, only so many people could write on it.
Right.
But now with internet,
Bar
there
has
is
gone down.
no restriction on how many blog posts you can have on IPT's blog, except for our editing capacity.
Right.
So, or how many articles the Wire or like let's say first post will publish. They're happy
Right.
to you send them a good article, they'll publish, and it'll be on the
Right.
internet, and it'll add to your authority forever. But
Right.
what is most important to remember is to write. What people don't understand is that what to write, and I think that is the biggest question to understand here. What to write is authoritative articles, the best resource to the questions that people are already looking for. So all the best, everybody. Thank you for joining us,
Thank
and
you so
thank
much.
you so much, Kirti, for being on An Hour with LawSikho. Uh, do we hope to have you back another time discussing another interesting topic. Till then, everybody, good night and take care. Do come back tomorrow 8 to 9 p.m. Subscribe to the channel so that we can keep sharing great videos with you. Thank you very much. Good night and goodbye.
Thank you.